Hey, if you're listening right now, I want you to take a deep breath. I know this is hard. Maybe your child is pulling away, saying things that sting, or seems caught in the middle of conflict, and it's leaving you feeling helpless and frustrated. You're not alone, and it's not your fault. That's exactly why I created the Countering Alienation course. It's a practical step-by-step program to help you recognize alienating behaviors, respond in a way that protects your relationship, and rebuild the trust with your child, even when it feels impossible. This is not about fighting your co-parent. It's about keeping your connection strong, staying grounded, and giving your child the stability and love they need. You deserve tools and guidance that you can actually use, and your child deserves the relationship only you can give. Check out the registration link in the show notes. I am offering you a discount for this course. Just type in POD, P-O-D, in the coupon code and enjoy your discount on us. This is the right move. You got this. Welcome to the Beyond Divorce, Embracing Change podcast. My name is Michael Flores, and I will be your host while we explore the complex journey of divorce with empathy, insight, and practical knowledge. Whether you're contemplating separation, in a divorce, or looking for support post-divorce, our episodes provide expert guidance, stories, and strategies to help you through every step of the process. We are actual therapists, helping clients who sit on our couches every day through their difficulties of divorce. You are not alone. Join us as we delve in and find solutions that give you hope again. We're glad you're here.
This podcast is not intended to replace legal or personal help. This podcast is for informational purposes only.
All right, welcome back to Beyond Divorce, Embracing Change podcast. If you're confused and think you're in the wrong spot, don't worry. It's still us. We're just switching things up today. My name is Arrianna Cervantes, and I will be your host. And I have the privilege of interviewing our Miss Jennifer Blake today. Jennifer, what do you have for us?
Well, it's December, and one of the things that I think about a lot at this time of year is self-care. Yeah. But when you add on the divorce, you kind of have a lot more stress.
Absolutely.
Whether you're in the middle of it, the beginning of it, the end of it, it doesn't really matter. It's just a little bit more added to your plate when you're dealing with divorce and the holidays. So I really want to talk about how we take care of ourselves.
Yeah, I think that is an excellent topic, especially with the turmoil and everything going on and having to navigate this new situation. So what's that first piece you want to share with us about taking care of yourself at this time?
I think first is physical, which, usually in January, everybody's like, let's go to the gym. Let's do this.
Yeah.
New me. Yes.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
And so physical, when I think of physical, I think of one, the food we eat. Mm-hmm. Obviously, you are what you eat.
All those Thanksgiving sweets and
yes. And you know what? It's okay to have those. Have some things that you like. The problem is with food, if we limit ourselves too much, then we kind of overindulge a different way. So finding a balance of keeping some nutritious things. Yes, enjoy your holiday meals and your parties and stuff. But in the meantime, in the other times, really work on, okay, maybe I need something a little bit more nutritious. I need some vegetables, a little protein.
All the food groups.
All the food groups, not just the sugar, or the caffeine, or the alcohol. Those are all great for different reasons, but kind of keeping a balance of your nutrition, because usually when you eat nutritiously and you eat really good, you feel better. And you're a little bit more apt to be less stressed because you're not worried about this to that and everything else.
And if you're feeling better, I'm wondering what else you can do.
Exactly. Go to the gym, or not even go to the gym. Go for a run. If
you
like running,
right? Like enjoy when the weather's nice.
I mean, it is Texas. We are in Texas, obviously, and so our winters are a little nicer than, I don't know, Michigan, who's getting snow like crazy right now. But doing a little bit of exercise, even if it's just as simple as stretching. I mean, honestly, sometimes we just need to stretch our bodies out a little bit, and that can help you feel a little bit better about yourself. You feel more in tune with your body, and creating that space to allow movement.
Yeah, you said stretch, and that made me think there's this, I think it's Yoga with Adrienne, and y'all can find her, beginner's yoga for people who've not done it before. And it just makes me think as she stretches and moves things out, she talks about, oh, that's a delicious stretch.
Yeah.
And I always thought it was funny until the other day. You know, I had been sitting up in my chair, I had been at the computer, all of those things, and I like sat there and I really stretched, and you know, it is delicious. It is. It's a good feeling just to be able to move.
You know, it's funny because stretching is one of those underrated things that people don't think about when you work out. I mean, but just stretching a little bit, especially if you do have a job where you're sitting all day or you're standing all day, stretch. You know, stretch your back out, stretch your arms, your legs, and just kind of breathe into it. It helps you kind of be more aware of what's going on in your body at the same time too.
Yeah.
Which can make you feel a little different. You know, taking care of that physical part of your body is so important. And it's funny because I think about it with, you know, in this context of divorce, and if you've got kids, have them do it with you.
Yeah, that sounds like a fun.
You know, enjoy it. You're going to have more family time. You're around your family, which can be stressful. But also, hey, take a break, make everyone stretch. It's amazing. I had I used to work in a hospital, and I had a class once where this kind of goes into the next topic, but we'll go to that. I was working with the kids, the little kids, like 5 to 12 year olds, and there was like 15 of them.
It's a high energy.
High energy. And we're trying to have a group and talk about things. And it was just not. I said, you know what? Let's try this. And I did a meditation with them for 2 minutes.
Oh, wow.
They were literally quiet and still for 2 full minutes. It was amazing.
Yeah,
and afterwards, the kids were like, that was really cool. Because they felt calmer. You know, and sometimes just stretching can help you just kind of relax a little bit.
Yeah,
I let go of some of that stuff.
Absolutely. I like what you said earlier about just paying attention to your body.
Yeah.
Because I feel like a lot of times, especially with everything going on, we stay in our heads.
Yeah, oh yeah.
And I would imagine we don't spend enough time thinking about, well, how are my toes doing today? How are my fingers, my neck? Have we given my neck some love?
Yes, exactly. And the other part of the physical part is sleeping. Oh my God, get your sleep.
Yeah.
But making sure you're getting some sleep, good quality sleep, whatever that means for you. If that, you know, shutting off the world, turn off the lights. I turn a fan on because I like noise. But, you know, getting enough sleep whenever you have all this stuff going can also help you feel a little bit more restful and calm and relaxed.
Yeah.
It allows you that amount of not being as anxious or not being as short. Sometimes when we don't get enough sleep, we can kind of be a little short with each other, and it's easier to get upset. Usually, if you get enough good sleep, then you're doing well, a little bit better. It's part of taking care of you.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't think about it. It's funny. I actually talk about food, exercise, and sleep almost every week with all of my clients of all ages.
Yeah.
Because it's such an important part that we don't really think about when we're really busy.
I wonder, and I agree with you, Pete. I feel like we don't think about it. I feel like we always hear people like, oh, I almost like a brag of, oh, I only slept 2 hours. I didn't fall asleep.
Exactly.
I was running errands, and then the baby woke me up, and then, you know, all those things. And I wonder if it's like a societal thing to deprioritize sleep or make it feel almost like not like a weakness or something.
I think so. I think people think if they don't get all this other stuff done, that sleep is just an afterthought. And I, you know, take some time and be a lot. If I'm tired, take a nap. I love to take naps. I'm a horrible napper though. But I want to take a nap.
What does that mean?
Well, I take short naps though.
Okay.
I have learned to take maybe 15 to 20 minutes, which doesn't sound like a whole lot. But if you can actually get your brain to stop for a few minutes and actually just rest, you feel like you had an entire night's of sleep. It's amazing sometimes, especially in the middle of the afternoon when you get that drag feeling. And if you've got time, take a 15-minute nap. Just lay there and close your eyes. Even if you're not really fully asleep, bring yourself down, and you wake up and you're like, oh, my eyes are awake now.
Yeah, it's finding that moment to recharge your body. It makes me think of, what we tell clients all the time. How are you pouring into other people's cups if your cup is empty? Yeah.
Well, it goes back to that. I mean, the same thought of on an airplane. What do they tell you to do? You put your mask on first.
Mm-hmm.
You got to take care of yourself because you can't take care of others if you're not there.
Absolutely. Jen, you've got some really good stuff for physical, finding a balance in what you're eating, loving your body and providing movement for it and rest. What else do you have to help take care of yourself during divorce?
This is the bigger part, I think. It's I think the bigger part of taking care of yourself is the emotional part. Obviously, we're therapists. We think about this all the time. And not everybody does. And I think, especially when you're dealing with a divorce, one of the biggest things I think is helpful for most clients is really just to allow yourself to have your feelings. Oh my gosh, be mad, be sad, have those feelings, enjoy the feeling. I know it's not really enjoyable to be sad, but it can be, because there's a relief at the end. And if you really allow yourself to have your feelings versus trying to avoid them, which I see often, it gives you a break of being able to kind of reset your mind.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you said that. You see people trying to avoid. That was a question I was going to ask you.
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of times in my office, I have people who are, I'm doing fine. I'm just trying to keep it together. And I think that might be the underlying fear is trying to keep it together. The fear of that they're going to fall apart and not move forward.
Yeah.
And so how, for our listeners out there who are maybe wrestling with some of those thoughts, how do we allow ourselves to feel our feelings, not run away from them, but also put ourselves back together, I guess, if we do fall apart?
Well, one, therapy would be helpful. if you get to the point where you're like, if you get to the point where you really can't figure out how to do that, a therapist could be really helpful in that situation, or even your friends.
Asking for help.
Learning about yourself. When someone is in the process of getting divorced or they've been divorced, you have to kind of relearn yourself. And so relearn what you really want. What do I really need right now? What can I do for myself that would be helpful?
Yeah.
A lot of times we're really focused on other people. We're focused on our kids, our spouses or ex-spouses, our family, moms, our grandparents, aunts, uncles, all the people, especially at Christmas time. It's hard to allow yourself some focus on yourself. One of the things I think about with divorce situations, because typically the kids are going back and forth for different reasons, whether it's week on, week off, or it's on the weekend, or, just different times throughout the month. Use that time. If you have a situation where your kids are going somewhere else, utilize the time that you have by yourself to learn a little bit more about you and take care of that emotional side of you. Because I know a lot of parents I've talked to, they're like, I don't want my kids to see me cry.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yes and no. I think it's okay for, parents to show their emotion as long as it's not overshowing or oversharing.
Yeah.
Because that happens too. But at the same time, it allows the kid to see, okay, mom's upset, but she handled it and she was able to take care of herself, and they can see that side of you.
Yeah.
Them seeing a mom who is constantly on the go, or dad who's constantly trying to do everything they can to cover everything and not really taking care of themselves, the kids see it. And I mean, I've had kids tell me, they're like, I ask kids a lot whenever I meet with them, what do they wish for their parents? And it's
great question.
I love that question, because sometimes they're like, I wish they had a house. They live in an apartment. Like, I wish they had a house. Or I'll hear a kid say, no, I really wish my parent had more money.
Yeah.
And it's little things like that you don't realize your kids are picking up on. But if you can show them a solid person who's able to take care of themselves, then they can emulate that too.
Yeah,
and you're teaching them how to do it themselves. And
maybe even how to balance all of those things. So as they grow up, they're
exactly
figuring out, how do I feel? How do I work? How do I make it make sense to where they don't become.
Well, and another part of using your time, I was actually talking to a parent recently, and sometimes you don't get a break. You have the kids all the time. Okay, cool. finding a way to still create a break for yourself, finding a moment, even if it's just 15 minutes at first, or an hour, where you can be you, and you're not mom or dad, or who, you're not there to take care of someone else. You can actually take care of yourself. I've had parents who are like, I can't even go to the bathroom. And, but they're able to create a time where, you know what, I'm going to take this time for me. If you really need something, come get me. But otherwise, leave me alone.
Yeah.
And it's okay to do that. It's not selfish. It's not something that you're taking away from your children. It's actually teaching them something. And teaching them that it's okay to have a little bit of a boundary. Especially when you're in the process of divorce, you might need a boundary, especially between you and your ex. You need to create that space for yourself and allow yourself to be you.
Yeah. So it sounds like being intentional with your time and really trying to figure out how to make it work for yourself.
Yeah. It's interesting because I think divorce, it's such a stressful thing to begin with. And you're thinking about all these different variations of what could happen and what might happen, and in a way, it's kind of like bring yourself back to the present. What can I do right now?
Yeah.
How can I come back to me right now, just even for 5 minutes, where you can calm the brain thoughts, all the things going on in your head now. Yeah.
Wow. It really is just finding those little moments, the little nuggets of good, calm relaxation to propel you forward.
Yeah. Well, and honestly, even talking about some of that stuff with your kids, or with your friends, and saying, this is how I really feel right now. I feel like I'm losing my mind because everything's going all at once. And finding that little balance of, okay, just for a minute, I'm just not going to have to worry about that.
Yeah.
And it's amazing when you start to feel that stress relief, even just for a moment, can help propel you for the rest of the day or the week, whatever you got going on.
You reminded me of something. I've had a couple clients, they feel like that schedule their crying sessions, right? Or their, things like that.
Scheduling crying. I love that.
What are your thoughts?
It's funny. There have been times in my life where I just felt off, and I didn't know why.
Okay.
And obviously it could be things going on around me in your life in general. But if I don't know what's going on, I'll go watch a movie that I know will make me cry. One of the ones I used to watch a long time ago was Terms of Endearment, which is a very old movie. I'm old, sorry. But that, or there's a dog movie. I can't.
Oh my goodness, yeah.
There's so many movies.
The pet movies.
The pet movies about someone dying. It's always great. But if you just need to cry or you don't know make yourself cry. Find something. Because sometimes that release of crying actually is all you really need.
Yeah.
A lot of people think crying is a weakness, and it's absolutely not. It's such a great way to just let the energy out. Because a lot of time that frustration, the anger, the things that are going on inside you, it's an energy in your system. And if you can find a way to let it out, and it kind of goes back to the physical stuff too sometimes, because going for a run or a walk or exercise can also let that energy out in a healthy way. So it's kind of interesting.
Jen, I need you to share, and I think you probably know where I'm going with this, but one of the first times that, we were talking about clients and we did a session, you shared the road trip analogy. And I feel like that is so relevant to what we're talking about right now. So I'm wondering if you could share with listeners.
Yes. Well, since most of our listeners are really adults, I can do this. So the road trip analogy is about your feelings. So imagine your feelings all bottled up. They don't have anywhere to go. Think about being on a road trip and not having access to a bathroom. And you really got to go poo. You can wait and you can hold it in and you can hold it in. At some point, though, it's going to explode and shit's going to be everywhere.
Yeah.
So your feelings are kind of the same way. If you hold them all in, they will explode and they will go everywhere. And usually not in a healthy way and not in a good way. Because unfortunately, when we hold everything in, it backfires, literally.
Yeah.
So that's the road trip analogy. Yes, I use that with some of my clients.
I feel like it's such it is a little
It's such a visual.
crass, but it's a visual, right? Like,
Yeah.
if we're thinking, wow, do I really want to ruin these seats? Do I really want to ruin these pants?
Exactly.
And to your point of like emotions coming out and exploding, I mean, that could be in anything. That could be
Absolutely.
yelling at your boss. That could be yelling at your child. That
Yeah.
could turn into so many other
It
things.
could create you create an argument out of nothing.
Yeah, because everything is just bottling up for you. So
Yeah.
I hope, as you were contemplating and thinking, is it really worth me scheduling my crying or, punching the punching bag or screaming into my pillow, that you'll remember the
Yeah.
road trip analogy.
Exactly. Because you gotta let it out. You just gotta let the feelings out. And that's why allowing yourself to have your feelings is important, especially when you're dealing with something like divorce.
Yeah.
You can be angry. Be it. Own it. Take responsibility for it. What can you learn from it? I use that a lot. I actually talk about my clients that like, what can we learn from having the feelings that we have? Because the purpose of feelings is to teach us about ourselves and to teach us how to deal with certain situations. So the next time that feeling comes up, it's not as bad.
We've been through it.
You know how to handle it.
Absolutely.
So yeah.
All great things for our emotions and how to allow ourselves to feel them and learn from them. Do you have anything else on that before we jump to the next one?
I think that covers pretty much the emotional side. It's such a big part though.
Yeah.
And really, truly, if you can't figure it out and you're struggling, seek out therapy. I mean, the purpose of therapy is to help you figure things out. It's not to tell you what to do. And I think people need to understand that, it's really just to kind of help you see things in a different light.
Yeah. Have like a sounding board, something to
an objective listener.
Absolutely. Well, I'm excited about this one. We talk a lot about what's better, what can we do, what can we learn.
Yeah.
And so I think that ties into the future. Tell me about the future as it relates to self-care, divorce, all of the stuff that we've talked about today.
Well, thinking about the future because specifically when you're dealing with divorce, what does the future look like? You get to have the opportunity to create new traditions.
Ooh.
You get to create a new version of you. You get to create, and it can be a little overwhelming when you think about it.
Yeah,
but at the same time, it can also be very liberating. And it can give you a different insight to yourself and your family and how your family is going to function moving forward. Being able to think about what routines do I need to create? Something I can do for myself, creating a routine around you where you have your space on a regular basis.
Yeah.
I'm going to go to the gym. I don't have to go 5-6 days a week. I can go 3 days a week. But I have time built into my routine where I can do that, or I do work out at home while the kids are still asleep. Yeah. Whatever we work with your schedule, but it gives you that ability to really think about how can I change things to better my whole family, not just me. And creating a community around yourself.
Yeah, you said opportunity to change. I'm such a visual person. I'm picturing, like a butterfly and a metamorphosis, going through all of this process and feeling these experiences and having these things in this tough time, but really just growing and getting to do and be new in the world.
I think a lot of times what I would say, and I've talked to parents about this before, or some of my adult clients, creating a new space for yourself. Find a hobby.
Yeah.
Create something. Go back to a hobby that you used to do. Something you used to do. I've had a mom. She's like, I used to draw. And I had a kid actually tell me that the other day. She's like, well, I used to draw, and I haven't been drawing lately. I was like, well, why not? Let's do that.
Yeah.
And so we drew in the session. And it's creating that different spot for yourself to allow you to have some kind of, what's the right word? It's creativity, but it's also allowing yourself to be that new version of yourself once you go through this process of divorce. And while you're doing the process of divorce, having something else to focus on that's not related to that can be really helpful because it gives you a break.
You reminded me of, I think I'm thinking back to a couple of clients that I've had, and, change is scary. And thinking about the future is scary. We've, for leaving a divorce, we've known a certain way of life for
for a long period.
And now it's changing, and we've got to figure it out, and we've got to make sense of it. And so I'm wondering, how or what words do you have for those who may be struggling to give themselves permission to be a new version, or to grow, or to change and be a different version of themselves from where they were previously?
Well, that's what it is giving yourself permission. It's okay to change. I think change is scary, but I also think finding a way to, it's funny, I've said this like 3 times this week. Be comfortable being uncomfortable. It is uncomfortable to change.
Yeah.
But a lot of times as we go through that, we start to learn, oh wait, this isn't so bad. A lot of the reason why change is so scary is because it's the fear. We don't know what's going to happen. The fear of the unknown. You can live in fear, which people do, but you can also find a way to work with fear.
Yeah.
You know, I have had a lot of clients who are like, you know, especially thinking about like, I have a lot of junior high-ish clients. And that first time you have to get up and give a speech in front of the class.
Yeah.
Woo. But I also have adults, you know, think about the first time you started your job. You didn't know what you were doing. But you had to build up your confidence. So that's part of it, is building up your own self-confidence of how to, I can do this. You know, I'm capable. I know my things. I can do this.
Yeah.
And I think giving yourself permission to be that person. A lot of times I like to ask parents, like, what do you want your kids to see?
Yeah.
What do you want your friends to see? What, that new version of you, what would you like for them to see of that? You know?
Sometimes I think that's a great question, because for a lot of those listeners who are caregivers,
yes,
right, a lot of, I imagine, your identity and what you do in your day-to-day is taking care of others. And so sometimes, you know, sometimes I feel like sometimes it is easier to reflect on how we're showing up to others versus kind of how we're showing up to ourselves. Maybe that was a little bit less, a little awkward. And so thinking, you know, well, in how I take care of my children, how do I want them to see me? How do I want, you know, these people that I care about to see me?
Yeah.
And kind of then turn it in.
And it's interesting because over the years of working with clients, I do, my favorite question to ask people is, what do you want? What do you want out of your life? What do you want for yourself? And almost always they look at me with a pink stare like, I don't know.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
I don't know, because they haven't thought about it.
Yeah.
And when you're dealing with divorce and you're working up, that's one of the biggest things. And that's what really all of this is about, is thinking about, what do I really want and what do I really need? You know, not from other people, but for myself.
Yeah.
How do I take care of me in order to take care of them? You know, because if you think about it, when you're in a good mood and you're happy and you're doing things that you like to do, which we're not always happy all the time. But my point is, when you feel good, you are a better version of you.
Yeah.
And other people see that, and then they start doing it. I had a client, one of my first clients when I actually started working here. Actually, she was my first client. But she struggled with her job at the moment. She was working in an environment that was really hard. She was a single mom. She'd been through a divorce, and she's like in shared custody, so she had that. But at the same time, she just struggled. And she started to change some of her patterns of what she did. And she went back to a project that she used to work on all the time. I think she made wreaths or something.
Okay.
So some creative project that she used to do all the time. She started doing that again. And she kind of set some boundaries for herself because she worked from home. So she set some boundaries within that. And I asked her, I think a couple weeks in, what's changed?
Yeah.
And she said, my kids. And I was like, what do you mean? She's like, they're nicer and friendlier. They don't fight as much, and they help me all the time. And I didn't even ask them to. She's like, and I didn't tell them anything.
Wow.
And she was so astonished that just by her behavior and her taking care of her allowed her kids to change too without her saying a word. And it was amazing for her. She's like, it's just really cool because now I feel calmer and they're calmer. Because we do reflect what we see.
And it's a system. It's a family system.
It's a family system. It's our lives. Family systems.
And just the smallest tweak can have an impact.
Yeah.
One of the things, you know, Jen, as you're talking through this and about, you know, creating your future and allowing yourself to ask, what you want. I want to take a moment and invite listeners to think about a time when you were your best version of yourselves. What were you doing? How old are you? Where were you at in life? What were some of the things that you were proud of in that moment? And how did you view the world? How did you see the world? And I wonder if you can put yourself kind of back in those shoes and allow yourself to learn from that version of you, that you'll find some things that might be helpful as you're moving forward.
Currently, yeah. And into your future. It's funny, we think about therapy. A lot of people think you go back and relive all your trauma from your past. Sometimes, maybe, but really, it is thinking if you can really focus on what worked well in the past, can also work well in the future. Or you learn from what didn't work well and change that new version of, how do I do this now? And when you're dealing with divorce, especially if you've got kids, and, how do I do this now? How do I function? How do I create a routine around this new version of myself and my family? Allowing everyone to have their own thought process. It's kind of it's a cool opportunity. And I know it's kind of funny to say divorce gives you an opportunity to change things. It does. Hopefully, for those who might be contemplating divorce, you might be able to make some changes where you don't have to go that route. You never know. But that's a whole other topic. We can talk about another day.
Well, no, I was looking up to make sure I got this right, because that really, we're talking about the agency that you have to be able to plan these things for yourself, to dream for yourself, to allow yourself to, really delve into what you're wanting and what you're needing. And it made me think of this quote. And for me and for some of my clients, I feel like it's been a powerful quote, because it reminds me of, my own ability to do the things and impact the things in my life. And I'm sure y'all have heard of it, but it's, I am the master of my fate. I am the captain of my soul.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
And I think there's something so powerful in that to remind us, as we're going through day to day and worried about all of these things, that at the end of the day, you are the master of your fate.
Yeah.
And the captain of your soul.
And you can choose how you want to deal with it.
Yeah.
A lot of people, it's funny, I hear a lot of clients that are like, well, the world is against me. Everything's always going to fall apart. It's never going to be right. And I'm like, well, possibly, or you can choose to change that. We don't get to control everything around us. We can't control our environment. We can't control certain things in our lives that happen. Like one of my recent clients, they're frustrated. Like, all this stuff happened. I did all this work, and then my tire, I have to go get new tires now. I was like, you can't control that. That is just called life. And that's the thing, letting go of the things you can't control.
Yeah.
That's part of that self-care is, oh my gosh, you gotta let go of some control sometimes. It's hard. But there are things you can't control. You cannot control if someone's going to jump in front of you on the highway and cut you off. What do? You react, or you just let it out. And
reacting versus responding.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I know we were talking about earlier this week.
I love that. I love the reacting versus responding. So, I mean, it really goes back to how you take care of yourself and being able to just kind of allow yourself to relax a second and be like, I don't have to control this.
Yeah.
I'm okay. I'll be fine. Honestly, sometimes just saying that to yourself, it's going to be okay.
Yeah.
Can give you a little bit of allowance to let go of some stuff.
Yeah. Listeners, it's going to be okay. If no one has told you that, if you haven't had the chance to tell yourself, it is going to be okay.
Yeah. And the biggest thing I want people to think about is you are important. Every person on this planet is important in some way. And creating that and allowing yourself to be important for a moment, even if it's just for your own 5 minutes of peace with a cup of coffee or something. Self-care is not selfish. A lot of people think if I'm taking care of myself, I'm too self-focused. And I'm like, no, that's not what this is about. It's not about being selfish, because being selfish is that you ignore everyone else around you. This is allowing yourself to be taken care of so that you can take care of others. I think in general, most humans, we have a tendency to want to help others. I mean, even the non-touchy-feely people that I know in this world still want to help solve your problems.
Yeah.
They will offer you suggestions when you don't ask. And that's okay. They want to help. But allowing yourself to be just yourself for a minute and think, what do I really need and what do I really want, can be so empowering, especially when you're dealing with such a significant change.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, Jen, I really appreciate you spending time with me today and getting to chat through, some of these pieces and really
we could talk
we really can how important it is to take care of yourself during this time. And so, I thank you for your time, and listeners, I thank you for allowing us to enter your space today and be a part of your lives. And I hope that you found a few things out of here that might be helpful to you as you're navigating this time. But
if you have things that you've done that helped you, let us know. We want to know what you did. I mean, it's interesting to learn the different things that people do to actually take care of themselves. It could be so many different variety of things.
Yeah, drop them in the comments, send us an email. We'd love to engage with y'all and allow y'all to, engage with each other around some of these topics. Because like Jen said, it's about finding your community and finding, those places and spaces for yourself. So thanks again, as always. This has been Beyond Divorce, Embracing Change podcast, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you.